Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. I'd like to welcome you all for today's evening program. We have a special guest, His Grace Harilila Prabhuji. He's visiting us all the way from Shridham Mayapur. Thank you, Prabhuji, for visiting us. Prabhuji is on his tour. He is the director of Bhaktivedanta Institute, Bhaktivedanta Hospital in Shridham Mayapur, and they are building a brand new 100-bed hospital. It's a charitable hospital, and it's free of cost service in Shridham Mayapur. So he's traveling across America, and he will be traveling all other parts of the world and spreading the awareness about the project. And he is a mechanical engineer by profession, but still he manages a hospital, a 100-bed hospital. So thank you, Prabhuji, for visiting us. Hare Krishna. So you can talk in English or Hindi, whatever is comfortable to you.
Okay, I will probably mix English and Hindi.
Because some people won't understand English. Some
Okay.
people understand Hindi.
So, sir, is there someone who doesn't understand English?
English किसी को समझ में नहीं आता है. Everybody understands English.
Okay.
And people will join slowly at the time.
शुद्ध हिंदी. Okay. So if I press and enter, it will shift to the next slide.
Yeah. Just press this.
Okay. Okay.
कम आगे आ जाओ सब.
थंडर बे में
प्लीज कम आगे आ जाओ.
इस ठंडी शाम में आप सबको स्वागत है. थोड़ा सा कीर्तन करेंगे, फिर उसके बाद हमारा जो प्रेजेंटेशन है, एक कृष्ण भावनामृत एक विज्ञान है, ये हमारा प्रेजेंटेशन का टॉपिक है. ये हम बाद में देखेंगे. ठीक है. जय राधा माधवा, जय कुंज बिहारी. जय गोपी जनवल्लभा, जय गिरिवरधारी, जय गिरिवरधारी. जय जशोदानन्दना, जय व्रजजनरञ्जना. जय जमुनधीरवनचारी, जय कुञ्ज बिहारी. जय राधा माधवा, जय कुंज बिहारी. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai. Lord Premanande. Okay.
Or you can say in English also, so then it's fine.
It's okay. I can speak Hindi. I can speak Hindi.
No, like internet audience also can follow.
Yeah, okay. So I'll mix Hindi and English. ओमज्ञानतिमरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोन् श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सखगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सखगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुलङ्गायते गिरिमत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दिनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरं कथाञ्चन स्मृते यस्मिन् दुष्करं सुकरं भवेत् स्मृते प्रीतं स्यात् श्रीचैतन्यं नमामि तं हरे कृष्ण. So today we'll explore this topic which is Krishna consciousness is a science. Krishna भावनामृत एक विज्ञान है. ये टॉपिक थोड़ा सा एक्सप्लोर करेंगे. So for that, first of all, we should just see what is the basic definition of science, because if you're trying to compare something with something, you should try to understand what we are trying to compare with. तो साइंस का डेफिनेशन क्या है? Okay, downward. If you see Collins dictionary, science, Collins dictionary writes science as science is a study of nature and behavior of natural things and the knowledge that we obtain about them. तो इस प्राकृतिक रूप में जो भी है, whatever is there, वी ट्राई टू स्टडी इट, हम उसको देखते हैं और उसके बारे में कुछ ज्ञान प्राप्त करते हैं. That's generally science. This is the basic, simple definition of science. Okay. So, but then why do we need science? What is the function of science in our life? Science हमारा जिंदगी में क्या करता है?
To understand things more.
Okay, you understand things more. Good, it's nice. You understand things more using science. But what is the role of science? Except giving some headache for writing exams. What is the role of science? You please feel free to say whatever you have to say. I'm not the only person going to talk today. Just say whatever you want to say. साइंस क्या करता है आपका जिंदगी में? साइंस क्या करता है?
To make life easier.
Yeah, to make life easy. This is one of the purposes of science. No, we don't want to complicate life, so we want to make life easier. So we want to utilize science. जिंदगी थोड़ा सा आसान बना सकते हैं, इसके लिए हम साइंस यूज कर सकते हैं. Okay, okay, it's good. It's a nice answer. Okay, anybody else? प्रभु जी आप बोलेंगे. What is the role of science in your life?
It's the same thing always, like making life easier, right?
Making life easier is one aspect. There's also some other aspect is there. माता जी आप कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे? What is the role of science in your life?
It gives evidence.
It gives evidence. So what do you do by studying that evidence?
Confirmation.
I mean, it gives evidence. What do you confirm? What do you confirm? It's true. What you're saying is true. Huh? I'm just saying what is a, like there is an evidence and there is a confirmation. And then what do you do with that? इसने मेरा पैसा चोरी किया है, एविडेंस है. वो कोर्ट में जाओ, उसको कंफर्म एविडेंस लेके कंफर्म करो. So after giving an evidence and getting a confirmation, there is some action. So what is that action? The example I gave itself. Okay, like somebody steals your money. कोई आपका पैसा उठा के लेके गया, आपके पास कुछ सबूत है, आप उसको जाके कोर्ट में पेश किया. You said that this is the person who stole my money. You gave evidence. The court confirms yes, he is the thief. Then they recover the money from him and give it back to you, hopefully. So when you lost your money, you became miserable. I lost my money. And by the process of evidence and confirmation, you got your money back. Your misery is removed, right? Huh?
Happiness.
Yeah, I mean removal of misery, right? This is one of the functions of science. He's a doctor. What he does, he removes misery, right? Somebody comes to him with some miserable condition. Doctor, मेरा तबीयत खराब है. Okay, ये दवाई खाओ और ठीक हो जाओ. Okay, so this is one of the functions of science. Like one function of science is to increase happiness. The other function of science is to reduce misery. Right? This is a very general thing. It's not like some rocket science we're not talking about. Even rocket science is simply meant for that, to increase happiness and reduce misery. Yeah. So that is the function of science. Uh, Science has a very basic function. We study science, we utilize science, and then we want to have science in our life. And the role of science in our life is to, why do we need science? We need science to reduce suffering. We need science to increase comforts, right? And then we need science to live happily ever after, right? Because science is always saying that one day we will make you live happily ever after, right? So this is the expectation from science. But now practically, if you see, is science giving these things to us? Is science giving these things to us? We cannot deny that it is not giving. It is giving, but it is giving with problems. Like it gives some comfort, it reduces some suffering, but that step which reduces suffering, it brings some other suffering.
Has some consequences.
Like for example, he's a doctor, okay. He knows that if you take any medicine, that medicine has a
Side effect.
side effect, right? Like you sometimes try to take a heart medicine, it goes and hits the kidney, right? you try to control your BP and try to keep your heart very safe, then that medicine goes and hits the kidney because it has some adverse effect on the liver or the kidney because the medicine has to process, the liver and kidney has to process the medicine, so they get affected. So science is trying to do this, but it is actually giving us some relief, but it is also giving us some misery. That is the problem with science. Uh, like uh, like 2 3 years back, there was COVID, right? So everybody is suffering due to COVID. Like science is so much advanced. So why when COVID was there, like in advanced countries, people are dying. Normally, some disease comes, like Ebola virus or some E. coli virus or something like that comes, and it is all coming in the third world, like, people in the third world die. So then the first world doesn't care, they think, oh, this is all African, these people that die. First world is so busy in its own way. But now one virus came, first world, second world, third world, the virus doesn't know. It doesn't know, oh, this is first world, we are not, the most powerful person, people think the most powerful person in the earth is the president of America. Like the COVID virus doesn't know he is most powerful person, he should not catch him. It goes and catches him, right? He gets COVID. Like the fellow, the beggar on the street in some poor country, he also gets COVID. Then the most protected person in the world, the president of America, he also gets COVID. Science is not able to stop it. Science is not able to stop it. Yeah. So the point is, if science is meant to reduce suffering and increase comforts and give us happiness, we see that science is not doing that function. Okay, is not doing that function. And this this idea of reducing comfort, increasing happiness, and living happily ever after is always there in the human being. It's not like an idea which came yesterday or day before yesterday. एक कल परसों आया है, उसके पहले नहीं था, ऐसा नहीं है. ये तो जब से जमाना शुरू हुआ तब से, जब से सृष्टि शुरू हुआ तब से ये आइडिया है कि we want to live happily, we want to reduce our misery, and we want to increase our happiness. Is there from beginning. And from beginning we are trying to find different ways. ये रास्ता ढूंढो, वो रास्ता ढूंढो, कौन सा रास्ता में ये ठीक हो सकता है, that we can get this result. We are always looking for it. So 5,000 years back, Arjuna was also having the same problem. He was actually in a situation where he had to fight a big war, and millions of people are supposed to be killed in that war. And he was also facing the same questions, that is this war which I'm going to fight, he is going to reduce misery or increase misery? या युद्ध करेंगे तो दुख कम होगा या दुख ज्यादा होगा? Or is it going to increase happiness or is going to reduce happiness? राज्य मिलेगा, ये राज्य से हमको कुछ सुख मिलेगा या राज्य मिलने के बाद हमको पछताना पड़ेगा? इसको मार के राज्य मिला, उसको मार के राज्य मिला, अभी राज्य मिल गया, उसको दिखाने के लिए कोई नहीं है. Suppose you have, let us say, Rolls Royce car. How many of you like Rolls Royce car in your life? Rolls Royce car you like to drive? Suppose you have Rolls Royce car, somebody gives you a free Rolls Royce, say, take it, keep it with you, on one condition. What is that? You should not show it to anybody. You should not show it to anybody. Nobody should know that you have a Rolls Royce car. You can take it free. Will you take it? Huh? You may think that, okay, I will anyway take it, keep it with me, but then if you can't show it to anybody, if you can't ride publicly, आज रात में चोर के जैसा कार में बैठ के किधर जाएगा? If you cannot show off wealth, there is no use of wealth. Very simple thing. Very simple thing. You have wealth, you cannot show it off. What is the use of wealth? There is no use of wealth, right? The happiness is not only in possessing wealth, If there is 25% happiness in possessing wealth, the balance 75% happiness is in showing it off, right? है कि नहीं है? कुछ गलत बोल रहा हूँ क्या? हाँ? Is it not?
इनकम टैक्स वाले पकड़ लेंगे
ना, वो तो इनकम टैक्स का जितना दिखा नहीं, जिसको जितना दिखाने का है उतना दिखाने का है ना। तो हाथी का दो दांत होता है, एक खाने का दांत और एक दिखाने का दांत। इनकम टैक्स वाले को दिखाने का है और रिश्तेदारों को कुछ और दिखाने का है। So Arjuna is also having same consideration. I will have big kingdom, but I will kill all my relatives. अरे किसको दिखाएगा? How can I enjoy? How can I how can I be guilt free that I have this kingdom after killing so many people? How can I be guilt free? And even if I get this kingdom, okay, for example, he is saying that even if I consider that I will not fight and I will get this kingdom, कितना दिन टिकेगा? Okay. So first of all, he was thinking fighting is a problem. Okay. He wanted kingdom because he is king. He cannot sit and beg. So king means he has to have kingdom and he has to rule. So that's what he can do. Okay. So he wanted kingdom, but he didn't want to fight. So he was thinking first fighting is the problem. Then later he understood that fighting is also not the problem. Suppose if I get the kingdom without fighting, in 2.8 in Bhagavad Gita he says that नहि प्रपश्यामि ममानुपद्यात् यच्चोहमुच्चोषणम् इंद्रियाणाम अवाप्य भूमौ असपत्नं वृद्धं राज्यं सुराणाम अपि चाधिपत्यम. Very beautiful shloka. He says that even if I get the kingdom which is like Swargaloka, Rajyam Suranam. Surana means all the gods, demigods. So even if I get a kingdom which is like the kingdom which is like a heavenly kingdom, like Swargaloka, still I cannot be happy. And even if I get it without fighting, asapatnam riddham, riddham means wealth. Asapatnam means without enmity. If I get this wealth without enmity, without having to fight, still I cannot get rid of this misery. Yacchoham uchchoshanam indriyana. I cannot get rid of this misery. So it's no longer question of fighting or not fighting. It's a question of how to find happiness in existence, in human existence. This is the question which Arjuna came to. That was his core point. That everybody, science is trying to answer the same question: that how to find happiness in human existence. Elon Musk is thinking that if you go to Mars, you can find happiness, right? वो सबको मार्स भेजना चाहता है. वो नाम ले रहा है सबसे, अरे नाम निकालो तुम्हारा, तुम कब मार्स में जाएगा, कौन मार्स में जाएगा, नाम निकालो. He is thinking that if you go to Mars, you can find happiness. Somebody is thinking that if I go to moon, I can find happiness. Different people are thinking the pursuit of happiness is the pursuit of science. Yeah, that's what science is for. Science is trying to find happiness, but we are not able to find happiness. And previously, 5,000 years back, Arjuna was also not able to find happiness. But Arjuna was an intelligent person. So he framed his problem in two questions. Okay. He framed his problem in two questions. And those two questions are the real questions of human life. Those are the only two considerations on which you act. Anybody, any human being acts only based on two considerations. There is no more consideration. There is no third consideration. Okay. So that is why Krishna consciousness is a science, because it actually boils down everything into basic considerations. Okay, what are those considerations? He asked two questions, two considerations he brought. What is the first consideration? What is my duty? What is the second consideration? What is good for me? Now you see, you do things in life only based on these two considerations. You do something because it is your duty, or you do something because it is good for you. You think about it. Do you do anything out of a third consideration? Think about it. सोचिए, कोई तीसरा कंसिडरेशन है क्या इसमें? या तो आप कुछ करते हैं कि आप ये आपका कर्तव्य है, या आप कुछ करते हैं कि या आपके लिए ये अच्छा है, आप समझते हैं कि ये आपके लिए अच्छा है। कोई कनाडा आता है क्योंकि वो समझता है मैं गरीब खानदान का हूँ, मैं कनाडा में जाऊँगा, बहुत धन कमाऊँगा, कमा के टन का शिप में पैसा भेजूंगा इंडिया में, हाँ, सबका भलाई करूँगा, हाँ, ये मेरा कर्तव्य है। हाँ, कोई ऐसा सोचता है। कोई सोचता है अरे इंडिया क्या है, कनाडा में जाएगा तो इतना बड़ा शानदार शहर है, अच्छा रोड है, अच्छा पर्यावरण है, कोई पोल्यूशन नहीं है, फास्ट फास्ट कार है, बैठ के डर 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 करके जाएगा, कितना अच्छा लगेगा। या दे थिंक इट्स गुड फॉर मी टू कम टू कनाडा, इज गुड फॉर मी। So you come to Canada because you think it is good for you, or you come to Canada because you think it is your duty. You do everything only based on these two considerations. Can you bring a third consideration, Prabhuji? Can you bring a third consideration? Can you bring a third consideration? What is good for others is a third consideration. But why do you think it is good for others? Because either it is good for you also, or you think it is your duty. You think that it is my duty to do good for others, ये मेरा कर्तव्य है, पूरा समाज का कल्याण का काम करना मेरा कर्तव्य है. You think that it is your duty to work for the good of everybody, or you think अरे उसको कुछ करेगा तो उसमें मेरा कुछ मिलेगा. हे कृष्ण, श्री श्री राम कृष्ण सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की जय. श्री श्री राधा ब्रजन वत्सल की जय. जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा की जय. श्री गौरनाथाय जी की जय. प्रभात की जय. So you see, there is no third consideration. There is no third consideration. Only two considerations to act. All your decisions in life, including how did you decide what to wear today, simply based on these two considerations. कुछ ना कुछ पहनना मेरा कर्तव्य है, नंगा तो नहीं जा सकता है, तो कुछ पहन लेंगे. Either you dress like that, or you think ये ड्रेस मेरे हीरो जैसा लगता हूँ ये ड्रेस पहन के, ये मेरे लिए बहुत अच्छा है. Then you dearly. So there is no consideration to act in any act you do. There is no consideration other than these two considerations. Is clear? What is your duty and what is good for you? Is clear? Okay. अब इसमें एक लफड़ा है. क्या लफड़ा है? You know what is the problem? What is the problem?
We don't know the right answer.
No, you may think that you know the answer. You have come to Canada, right? Did you come to Canada? It is because it's your duty or it is good for you?
The duty.
It's a duty, right? You think it is right answer. Coming to Canada is my duty. I come here. Okay, you think it's right answer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the point is, we think that because that's why we act. Otherwise, we will not act. We think we know answer for this. Okay, we act, but that is not the problem. The problem is different. What is the problem?
Me and mine.
Huh?
Me and mine.
ये तो आप बहुत high level में. The problem is very simple. What is the problem? What is good for you is not good for somebody else. What is your duty, it conflicts with what is somebody else's duty. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. In this world, one person's duty conflicts with another person's duty. One person's good conflict with another person's good. अभी डॉक्टर साहब बैठे हैं, his duty is to cure sick people, but falling sick is not good for me. So his duty conflicts with my interest. I don't want to fall sick. But the moment I fall sick, I have to go to him because it is his duty to cure me, right? But naturally, his duty is something which I don't like to be subject of, right? So, one person's duty conflicts with another person's duty. Somebody is thinking that I'm Indian, somebody is thinking that I'm some other country, so both the countries fight, one country fights with another country. And then So this person's duty is to defend his country, the other person's duty is to defend his country. Now these both trying to kill each other, right? So there are differences which comes due to country, there are differences which comes due to community, there are differences which comes due to the very profession you take. This is the problem. The problem is what is good for one person is not good for another person. And what is one person's duty, it conflicts with what is another person's duty. So Arjuna was trying to ask Krishna, why can't we have something which is everyone's duty? Why can't we have something which is good for everyone? Right? खत्म करो ना यार, सबका यही ड्यूटी है, सबके लिए यही अच्छा है. So if you can find something like that, then all conflict can be solved on that basis, right? Because you have something common, you have something common to relate all of you. So then if there is any conflict, it can be resolved on that basis. So that is Arjuna's question. That's why he's an intelligent person. So when Arjuna asked Krishna, what is my duty and what is good for me, it was a straightforward answer. Your duty is you are a king, you should fight, and you get kingdom, it is good for you. That is why Arjuna said that even if I get the kingdom without fighting, I still can't find an answer to my confusion, because he wanted something which is good for everyone, and he wanted which is something which is everybody's duty, right? So now, why is this confusion? So Krishna, before answering Arjuna, he actually dwells the reason for this confusion in three shlokas. He actually explains what is the reason for this confusion. Okay, and then he goes on to explain that how to resolve this confusion. Okay, so go see what is next. So the reason for this confusion is our identification. Okay, we actually try to identify ourselves in many temporary identifications. The first or the very basic temporary self identification is the self identification as a person who seeks food for survival. Plants are like that, trees are like that. The root naturally grows towards the water, the leaf naturally grows towards the sunlight. Okay, in between आप लकड़ी काटो, वो पेड़ कुछ प्रोटेस्ट नहीं करेगा. Will any tree protest if you try to cut the tree? No, do not protest. It has only one basic instinct. The basic instinct is how to find food, right? So the first temporary self-identity, or the most basic temporary self-identity, is self-identity as seekers of food. Okay, there is not even consciousness of body. A child who is born, a newborn child is like this. A newborn child has only one ability. What is that ability? The ability to suck milk from the mother's breast. Nobody teaches the child, अरे बच्चा अभी तुम पैदा हो गया, अभी तुमको mother's milk पीने के लिए तुमको क्लास दिया जाएगा. Anybody does that? Nobody does that. Naturally, when the child is taken near the breast of the mother, naturally the child knows how to suck the milk from mother's breast. This is the basic consciousness. और कुछ भी वो बच्चे का मालूम नहीं है. He is not even aware of how to maintain his body, how to defend his body. Nothing. He is not aware. He is completely vulnerable, just like the tree. A small child is as vulnerable as a tree. If you go and do some harm to a small child, he cannot even protect himself, right? He is as vulnerable as a tree. So that is the basic self-identity. The first self-identity is the self-identity as the seekers of food. The second self-identity is self-identity of bodily survival. Animals have this. They know how to save themselves or save their body. They know this, how to save their body. They know when there is a danger to the body, कुछ खतरा आ गया तो उस खतरा से बचने का रास्ता ढूंढ सकता है. वो खतरा से बच के रहने का whatever is needed, they try to develop that skills. This is self-identity as body. As we grow up little bit, we get this knowledge or we automatically learn this. अरे कोई मारने के लिए आ रहा है तो ये तो पकड़ के वापस मारने का है या तो भाग जाना है. This is called the fight or flight response. It technically called as fight or flight response. कोई मारने के लिए आ रहा है तो देखो वो आपसे थोड़ा सा वीक है तो वापस मारो उसको, या बंदा बहुत तगड़ा है तो भागो उधर से, भागो उधर से. So you know how to protect your body. This is the second level of temporary self-identity. So the first level of temporary self-identity is that you simply find food. The second level of self-identity is that you know how to protect your body. Okay. Now the third level of self-identity is self-identity with mental activity. मन की शांति चाहिए, मन की शांति चाहिए, या मन की कामना पूर्ण होना चाहिए. You want to actually satisfy your mind. Now, food is not a consideration. Even body is not a consideration. Now, mind becomes a consideration. That some people sometimes go into depression. They even destroy their own body because the consideration is no longer body or self-preservation. The consideration is no longer food. The consideration is simply mind. Mind is so heavily pressing them that they think that nothing else is worth. Or a person is so determined to achieve what he wants to achieve, the desire of his mind, हमने तो ठान के रखा है, हम करके ही रहेंगे, दिन रात एक कर देंगे. Sometimes when you write exams, you do that, no? दिन रात एक करते हैं, because you have to somehow pass the exam, right? So दिन रात एक करते हैं. Okay, चलो खाना पीना छोड़ दो, grab something, just eat little bit, and then study so that you can finish your exam. Or nowadays I heard that in Canada that students can work 40 hours and study also, right? Before it was 20 hours and study, now I am told it was 40 hours and study. 40 घंटा काम करो और कोर्स भी करो, ये करो वो करो. So something other than body drives you to achieve what you want to achieve. That is your mental desires, that you want to be someone, you want to be like this, you want to be like that. So then that becomes the primary thing. That becomes the primary thing. You want to achieve it. करके ही रहना है. So mind becomes the driving factor. But in all these self-identities, what is the problem? The same problem exists. क्या है? Whatever is good for you is not good for somebody else. आपका भलाई किसी को बुराई करने वाला है. Your duty is going to conflict with somebody else's duty. Your self-interest is going to conflict with somebody else's self-interest. Okay. So, in order to resolve this, then man goes to religion. Okay. Because man thinks that by religion I can find peace. Right? So that's why religion is there. Religion is meant to provide peace. But then there is also another problem there. What is the problem? The problem is that the whole self-identity of body, it keeps changing. from young age to old age is going. You're born, you have to become old. You cannot stop it. Can you stop it? Can you say, no, I don't want to become old? Now people are saying, today morning I saw, today I was making this presentation, I saw on video, somebody sent me. Someone is talking about genome therapy. And he is saying that, we have finally found a gene which is a copy, which has the copy of your youth. So now we will revive that gene and we will reverse aging. Okay. So there's a big talk about age reversal. Science is telling that we will do age reversal. Whatever, but even if we try to achieve this age reversal, but still we can't resolve the original problem. What is that? One man's duty is another man's conflict. One man's interest is another man's problem. So everybody cannot live happily ever after, right? This is where we started. What was our original consideration? That everybody should live happily ever after. So because of all these problems, then man goes to religion. But religion is also a problem. Why? Because today you can be Hindu, tomorrow you can become Muslim, day after tomorrow you can become Christian, and after 3 days you can become fed up and you become atheist, right? And then when you are Hindu, you can say that I want to fight with Muslim, and when you are Muslim, you can say I want to fight with Christian, because Muslims and Christians are fighting. The whole history is there: war of crusades, first crusade, second crusade, that crusade, this crusade, uh, and then atheists are fighting with everybody. uh. So even if you nominally take to religion, you still cannot solve your problem. You still cannot solve your problem. Is clear? So then what is the solution? What is the solution? अब ये प्रॉब्लम ऐसा खड़ा कर दिया कि इसका लगता है कोई कोई सोल्यूशन ही नहीं है, सोल्यूशन ही नहीं है. बट कृष्णा एक्चुअली identifies the problem in a very, very simple statement. Very, very simple statement. Krishna identifies the problem. What is the problem? Krishna says, what is temporary cannot give you permanent happiness. Very, very simple statement. As long as you are identifying yourself with temporary, you cannot get permanent happiness. As long as the science is trying to find happiness in what is temporary, still science cannot find permanent happiness, because what is temporary is temporary. You can actually reverse aging. Okay. You can find the genome, you can reverse aging. And then you can make people young again. Okay. Good. You made people young again. But what if somebody presses a nuclear button? What if somebody presses a nuclear button? हाँ, सब आदमी यंग होके मर जाएगा, right? So as long as conflicts exist, you can't have peace and happiness. A very simple thing. And as long as you identify yourself with the temporary, conflicts will always exist. You cannot avoid conflict. So what begins and what ends has to be a source of misery. A very simple problem statement which Krishna gives. Yahi samsparshaja bhoga dukkayona yevate adyantavanta kaunteya na teshu ramate buddhaha. So that which begins and that which ends, that happiness which has a beginning and which has an end, is always source of misery. An intelligent person doesn't take part in that happiness. So identity which has a beginning and end, identity which is temporary in nature, cannot give permanent happiness. So then what is, then Krishna then tells Arjuna, therefore don't try to find happiness or don't try to find harmony in what is temporary. Try to find happiness in what is permanent. Okay. So this is Krishna's um, Krishna's point. So that's what Prabhupada points out. This is real science. Because this human life is meant for understanding what I am. Aham Brahmasmi. I am not this body, I am a spirit soul. So this is real science. One may say, oh, how to understand this? It's not so difficult to understand this if you want to understand this. It's not so difficult. The most simplest way to understand this is to every day see yourself in the mirror. This is the most simplest way to understand that I am not this body, I am a spirit soul. Because you see, your body is changing. You're all like 2 years old, 3 years old. At that time, you had one body. Now you're all like 20, 25, 15, 16, whatever it is. Now you have one body. So the body which was there when you're a 2-year old is completely different from the body which you're having now. Right? Yes or no? But do you think that you're a different person or the same person? Your self-identity remains same, right? You may change your name, you may change your religion. Today I am called Ram, and then tomorrow I will become Muslim. I will call myself as Rahim. So, till yesterday, people call me Ram, Ram. I am saying yes, yes. Today I will say, hey, don't call me Ram, call me Rahim. But that person who is calling himself as Ram or Rahim, that person is not changing, right? He's only changing his name. He's saying, don't call me. Who is that me? Is that me body? If that me is body, then body is changing. Is that me the name which is given by the parents? If that me is the name which is given by the parents, that's also changing. You get a name from your parents, they give you some nice name, then everybody changes their name. They say Guddu, Billu, Tallu, Tallu, they call you like that. And then you go to college, and then in the college they give you another nickname, and then they call you by that name. So parents gave you one name, then you became Guddu or Billu, and then you went to college, and then they call you Tallu, Tallu, whatever it is. So your name is also changing. But you don't feel that you are changing. You feel that you are the same person. Previously I was called this, now I am called this, now I am called that. So your identity is not your name, your identity is not your body. Your identity is that which doesn't change while your names change, while your body changes, while your faith changes, while your value system changes. Many things are changing, but something which is you is never changing. That identity is the spirit soul. That's what Krishna is saying. That please understand your spirit soul. आप समझो कि आप आत्मा है, आप शरीर नहीं है. इस बदलते हुए शरीर में, बदलते हुए नाम, बदलते हुए मजहब, इसके अंदर जो न बदलते हुए एक पहचान है, वह पहचान आत्मा होता है. So that person, that spirit soul, he is actually part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna says, Vamevamshu jivaloke jivabhuta sanatana. Says that person is actually part of Krishna. And how to find that identity? अभी तो हो गया, अभी I am spirit soul, अभी सब हो गया. But how to find that identity? Because I am having a body, okay? And with that body, I need to find that identity that I am a spirit soul. So how to find that identity? So in order to help us find that identity, Krishna himself appeared as Lord Chaitanya 500 years back, and then he started this Sankirtan movement, which is actually the real science. The real science is chanting the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And in order to practice the real science, there is only one requirement. You know what is the requirement? ये विज्ञान को प्रैक्टिस करने के लिए, अभ्यास करने के लिए एक ही रिक्वायरमेंट है. क्या रिक्वायरमेंट है मालूम है? You know what is the requirement? Not so much. There's only one requirement. You know what is the requirement?
पूरा करने की इच्छा, प्रणाम करने की इच्छा।
आपको मालूम है क्या रिक्वायरमेंट है? नहीं मालूम है.
ये मन होना चाहिए।
Feed your soul, not your mind.
It's all too much. There's only one requirement to chant the holy name. भगवान की नाम को जप करने के लिए एक ही रिक्वायरमेंट हिंदी में क्या है? एक ही आवश्यकता है. पकड़ गया. एक ही आवश्यकता. मैं तो मद्रासी है, मुझे इतना हिंदी मालूम नहीं है. एक ही आवश्यकता है. क्या है मालूम है? एक आवश्यकता है, मुंह खोल के बोलना चाहिए. This is the only requirement. Can we try that? Can we try that? Okay? We'll do it now, okay? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. See, it's that easy. There is no other requirement. The only requirement is open your mouth and chant. That's it. Sometimes we chant, no? We go and then we give lecture and then we chant. And then we say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Many people responsibly chant. You know, they just, when we start chanting, they also join. Okay, let's also chant together. लेकिन कोई कोई आदमी ऐसे बैठे. अरे मुंह खोलो भाई. पैसा तो नहीं पूछ रहे हैं ना? हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र बोलने के लिए $10 दे दो. ऐसा कुछ है क्या? कुछ नहीं है. इसके ऊपर पैसा नहीं पूछते हैं, उसके ऊपर खिला के भी भेजते हैं. आया, कुछ जाप किया, कुछ कीर्तन किया तो प्रसाद भी खिला के भेजते हैं, खा के जाओ. फिर भी ऐसा आके बैठा. Why you know? The identity of body is so strong that the mind doesn't allow you to actually engage in your actual self identity. ये शरीर का पहचान इतना सख्त पकड़ के रखा है कि मन जो है आत्मा को अपनी असली पहचान का काम करने के लिए छोड़ता ही नहीं है. That is the problem. That is the problem. That is the strength of the temporary self-identity with the mind. Now, chanting Hare Krishna is good for everybody. It's good for everybody. क्योंकि सबका पास मुंह है, सब लोग मुंह खोल सकता है, और सब लोग मुंह खोल के हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे. अरे बोलो भाई, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे बोल सकता है. इसे किसी को हानि पहुंच सकता है? मैंने हरे कृष्ण जाप किया, बगल वाला आदमी मर गया, ऐसा कुछ हो सकता है? नहीं, किसी को कुछ हानि नहीं पहुंच सकता है. Rather, when you chant Hare Krishna and go on the streets, people become spontaneously happy. They also want to come and join with you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. They also want to come and join with you. They also want to come and dance with you. They also want to come and sing with you. They also want to have little prasad, right? So, this is the real science. Why it is real science, I have not explained it still. Why it is real science? Not because it is some good music and then good rhythm. You can have something similar. Instead of chanting Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, you can try to chant Jimmy Jimmy Tommy 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 Jimmy 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 Tommy Jimmy Tommy Jimmy Jimmy Tommy Tommy. See, like that you can try to chant every day morning, Jimmy Jimmy Tommy Tommy Jimmy Tommy Jimmy Tommy 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 Jimmy 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 Tommy Tommy. You can try to chant. Can you? There's no benefit. Right? But when you chant Hare Krishna, there is some benefit which is intangibly coming to you. Right? It's coming to you intangibly. Why it is coming to you? Because that is the science behind chanting Hare Krishna. I'll explain that and we'll close. Okay. So you are all students, right? So how did you get into your university? अरे कॉम्प्लिकेटेड क्वेश्चन नहीं है भाई, सिंपल क्वेश्चन पूछता हूँ. मैं तो बहुत सीधा साधा आदमी हूँ. माता जी बहुत सोचते हैं, मुझे इतना सोचना नहीं आता है. हाँ हाँ, यू टू अप्लाई. ठीक है ना, सिंपल चीज है. यूनिवर्सिटी में कैसे जाएगा? एप्लीकेशन करेगा तो यूनिवर्सिटी में जाएगा. यूनिवर्सिटी वाला तो आपको घर में आके दरवाजा खटखटा के नहीं बोलेगा कि आ जाओ मेरे भाई, ऐसा तो नहीं बोलेगा ना. हाँ, आपको तो एप्लीकेशन डालना पड़ेगा. एप्लीकेशन डालेगा तो वो स्क्रूटिनाइज करेगा, फिर आपको लेके आएगा. राइट? सिंपल थिंग, राइट? वेरी वेरी सिंपल थिंग. सो हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र is an application for service to Krishna. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is application for service to Krishna and Srimati Radharani. When you chant Hare Krishna, you are simply asking, Hey Krishna, Hey Radharani, please engage me in your service. So now, engaging in God's service is good for everybody. Anybody has a problem with that? Engaging in God's service is good for everybody. Because why it is good for everybody? Because by definition God is all powerful. By definition God is all powerful. That is what God, like, everybody agrees with that. Hindus agree, Muslims agree, Christians agree, Jews agree. Anybody who agrees with God agrees that God is all powerful. And anybody who agrees with God also understands that God is all merciful. So everybody having relationship with God is good for everyone, and therefore applying for having that relationship is good for everybody. So when you apply for that, then what happens? आप यूनिवर्सिटी में एप्लीकेशन डाला, फिर क्या होगा? आपका परीक्षा निरीक्षण होगा, फिर उसके बाद आपको आपका एडमिशन मिल जाएगा. सब परीक्षा निरीक्षण होने के बाद आपका एडमिशन मिल जाएगा. So the same thing, that when you consistently keep applying for service to Radha and Krishna every day, you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. When you chant 16 rounds, you are chanting 1728 times. So 1728 times every day you are asking Radha and Krishna, please give me service, 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 please give me service. So what Krishna and Radha will do? They will give you service, right? It's such a simple thing. If I come and ask you every day 100 times, please give me some service, I want to serve you, I want to serve you, what will you do? Arey kuch karo yaar. It's not a logical thing, no? If you ask for service, you are going to get service, right? So when you get service of Radha and Krishna, so what Radha and Krishna are doing, you know what Radha and Krishna are doing? You know what they are doing? Arey मालूम होना चाहिए यार. They are doing three things. You should know what they are doing. They are doing three things, very important things they are doing. What they are doing? They are eating, singing and dancing. What they are doing? Eating, singing and dancing. This is what they are doing. काम ही यही है. So then when you ask for service from them, what service you are going to get? Eating, singing and dancing. Would you like to do that? Would you like to do that? Huh? Eating, singing and dancing बहुत मुश्किल है ना. So when you actually ask for Krishna's service, you get to do what they are doing, right? And what they are doing, they are simply having a nice time. So you also get to have a nice time. It's as simple as that. You also get to have a nice time. And when you experience that happiness, then the misery of being simply squeezed by the body and mind, for the first time you understand that is not happiness. For the first time you understand this, that I'm being squeezed by the body and mind in the name of getting some happiness. I'm getting some little bit of happiness, and in order to get that little bit of happiness, this body and mind is delivering me this much amount of misery. This much amount of misery. थोड़ा सा सुख के लिए बहुत ज्यादा दुख झेलना पड़ता है। ये मन और तन का जो सुख सुख है उसका आ, उसका प्रभाव ही ऐसा है, थोड़ा सा सुख के लिए बहुत ज्यादा सा दुख झेलना पड़ता है। So you first time you understand this when you actually experience that happiness of serving Radha and Krishna. So when you understand that, then naturally you want to engage more and more in Krishna service. As you engage more and more in Krishna service, then more and more you get knowledge of how to do that service. Like I want to serve you, I want to do some service to you, and I engage in your service. Then what will happen? More and more you will start explaining to me that how to do service to you, right? That's what you will do. That because I want to serve you, then you see that I am very sincere in serving you. The more and more you will explain, okay, अरे ऐसा करो, ऐसा रसोई करो, ये करो, इसमें नमक कम डालो, इसमें चीनी डालो. You will tell everything what you want, so that I can do my service to you better. Same thing happens with Radha and Krishna because they are also persons. So the more and more you engage in their service, more and more you get knowledge of how to serve them properly. The more and more you serve them properly, the more and more you experience happiness. And the more and more you experience happiness, then the more and more you actually experience harmony with everything which Radha and Krishna has created. Because now you have a common point. You have a relationship now. You have something in common. You are not looking at that murgi and thinking that a murgi mera biryani banega. Because you now understand that there is a spirit soul in that murgi, and that spirit soul is also related to Radha and Krishna. Now it has a body, it has a murgi body, it has to live in that murgi body and leave that body. उसका बिरयानी बना के मैं क्यों खाऊं? Why would I interfere in that life of that soul? Let him go through his life, let him finish, and let him take human birth. If possible, I will chant to Murgi Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, so that Murgi can also hear Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Because ultimately there is a soul in that Murgi also. So then everybody becomes your friend, trees become your friend, Murgi become your friend, Machi become your friend, Anda become your friend, everything become your friend. Because you have a common point to relate, and that's science. And that science will ultimately show you the way to live happily ever after. Therefore, Krishna consciousness is real science. ठीक है? Okay. Any question, comment?
Wonderful, nice. Thank you.
Any questions, any comment? कुछ सवाल है या कुछ आप बोलना चाहते हैं, कुछ सवाल पूछना चाहते हैं?
Very logical explanation.
आपका कुछ सवाल है? You're happy? Anybody else? How to get question from Facebook? They know how to ask question.
No questions.
No questions. Okay. So no, wait, the last slide.
There is no question.
Okay. Okay. So the last slide. Just go for the last slide. Okay. So therefore, you can see this is a picture of Mayapur Kirtan Mela, and people from more than 70-75 countries are sitting and harmoniously doing Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna Kirtan, because this is the real good for everyone. Okay. So that is what Prabhupada says. We can read this quote. Prabhupada is saying, it is a science. Just like science is open for everyone, science is not sectarian. So it is also a science, the science of God, the science of soul. So everyone is welcome to understand it. Srila Prabhupada ki. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. So we'll do Aarti. And then tomorrow evening also, Prabhuji is giving a class on Krishna consciousness in the Gruhastha ashram. So most of you might get married and have family. So
whoever is married, whoever wants to get married, everybody can come.
So Prabhuji is tomorrow giving a class in the evening 6 o'clock, and again Prashadam and Aarti will be there tomorrow. So please join us tomorrow as well.